week long, we have been celebrating the Minnesota National Guard and so many men and women as our military all-stars. And we continue today by looking at the St. Paul group, St. Paul base group, the 34th Combat Aviation Brigade.
The Army Aviation Support Facility here in St. Paul is a maintenance and operations facility for the Minnesota Army National Guard, Army Aviation. We have 10 helicopters that are assigned here. We do operations virtually every day of the year. The Aviation Brigade roughly has 500 that are supported out of this facility. 2 units, the 34th Combat Aviation Brigade and the 147th, which is Aviation Assault Battalion.
Start on 132, clear 2, clear 2.
The specialty is air assault. So this unit supports the ground forces that are going to be air assaulted into an objective, into an operation. They do many other missions to include state active duty support to the floods and also in support of helicopter operations for firefighting. You've probably seen the buckets that are underneath the helicopters. That is also done out of here. Very similar to active duty in the National Guard, we have units that we support. In Minnesota, we're lucky enough to have an infantry brigade, and so we have a good relationship where we do things like go up to Camp Ripley and practice air assault operations. Or on a drill weekend, we'll either fly out of here or we'll fly out of Camp Ripley or really any location that we choose that has suitable landing areas for us. 5 days a week, we run operations out of here from 7 in the morning until roughly 11 o'clock at night. This unit supports the continuous training that we need to maintain proficiency for our aviation professionals, both pilots and non-rated crew members and mechanics that work for the Minnesota National Guard.
And we are honored to be joined live now by Colonel Gregory Thingvold, the commander of the 34th. He is stationed in Fort Hood, Texas. That's where he joins us now. Colonel, so great to have you with us.
Great. Thank you, Tom. It's great to be with you here today with Fox Sports North.
Tell us, if you will, about the missions coming up as you're being deployed to Kuwait.
To be various missions that we'll be performing. Some of the stuff that we're training on here at Fort Hood have to do with medevac, have to do with air assault, air traffic control, aviation maintenance, and certainly commanding those organizations as we get ready in a couple weeks to head over to Kuwait.
So what's your training been like in Fort Hood, Texas so far, Colonel?
It's been good. It's we train our actually 1st Army Division West, which is under 3 Corps here at Fort Hood, helps get us trained up to get ready to go over to Kuwait. And so we've been doing daily missions here, flying daily, nightly. Our Aviation Brigade headquarters is going through what's called a command post exercise, and allows me and my staff to really get settled in on mission command of a full-up aviation brigade as we get ready to take on some additional units as we get downrange as well. Not only the 730 soldiers that are here, but we'll also command an attack battalion that's already in Kuwait right now.
There are many challenges, I would imagine, when you get ready for deployment. You mentioned working with other units as well. What are the things that you're working on right now?
Well, it is getting to know each other. We definitely are spread out. This team comes from 9 different states. And so, number one, it's getting to know each other, setting that command climate, and getting to know how to work with each other. There's no doubt when we go over to Kuwait, we've got to really be able to hit the ground running. So, you know, it's testing our soldiers in the skill sets that they've been trained to do, and watch that here, make improvements so when we get over to Kuwait that we can do what we're asked to do for our sent commander.
We were granted access a few weeks ago to visit many of the National Guard bases, including the 34th, and at that time we had the opportunity to speak to your wife, who is extremely proud of you. Take a listen.
We're all you know, just extremely proud of him. The way he leads is different than some other commanders, and he has a very gracious way of leading, but yet he still has his protocol and what he believes is what should take place. And so, yeah, he's pretty amazing.
I'll give you a second. I'm sure that is very
it's
touching.
Definitely fun to hear her voice. She's definitely the better half of us.
No question about it. And it makes us wonder to hear behind every great man is a great woman, obviously. What those of us in the community here in Minnesota can do, if anything, to help support you folks before your deployment?
Well, it's a great question, Tom. One of the things that's unique, well, we're really not unique to our unit. We're spread across 43 different communities back home. The good thing about deploying out of Minnesota is we have a yellow ribbon community network in every one of those communities. And so, you know, that's the first way that local citizens can plug into their communities, to plug into the yellow ribbon networks. But the other big one, too, is certainly the great tradition of the Minnesota Military Family Foundation. That's a great resource for our soldiers, especially when there's needs, especially financial needs. And if there's one great organization to contribute to, that certainly is one of them.
Colonel Thingvold, we thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are at Fort Hood, Texas. But we thank you for all that you and everyone in the 34th have done. It truly is appreciated by those of us in Minnesota.